Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the future of Egypt in terms of the potential of electricity and the energy mix and the renewable energy in general for an efficient and a sustainable future for the country. However, we'll be starting straight away with the main top stories for today, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi created a post through his social media account marking Africa Day. The president said that the occasion falls on the 25th of May of each year, in which we celebrate a day of unity and solidarity, symbolizing the aspirations of the African nations for a bright future and sustainable development. President al-Sisi added that Egypt, which is deeply rooted in the African history, reaffirms the unwavering commitment to fostering the constructive cooperation, strengthening the development efforts and promoting peace across the entire continent. He noted, "Together we shall build a brighter and more prosperous tomorrow for the people of Africa." The head of state prayed for God that Africa stands strong and steadfast in its pursuit of the progress. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed that the Egyptian-American Economic Forum is focused on reviewing the Egyptian efforts to enhance the role of the private sector and achieve sustainable and comprehensive development goals. During his speech in the forum, he said that Egypt has taken tangible steps to create a sustainable, suitable environment for the economic reforms. He cited the launch of the state's property title as a driver for the reform, saying that it aims to limit the government's involvement in fields of interest to the investors. He also said that the Economic Forum reflects the strategic importance of the economic cooperation between Egypt and the United States, a relation that he said is based on productive partnerships. Madbouli reiterated that Egypt has proven its weight as a reliable and influential partner with the United States. Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and we still have the main top stories for today that took place on Sunday, as Minister of Foreign, Migration and the Egyptian Expatriates Affairs, Badr Abdulati, heads to the Spanish capital, Madrid, where he participates in an expanded ministerial meeting of the Madrid Group over the Palestinian cause. The meeting is due to tackle the international efforts to end the genocide war on Gaza, the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the Strip, and mobilizing international support to recognize a Palestinian state. Implementing the two-state solution also tops the agenda of the meetings. And we return to the main topic of the Daily Debate for tonight, focusing on the energy mix and the future of energy and the renewable energy here in the country, as Egypt is said to be having more and more renewable energy projects in the country by the year 2028, according to the program of Nuwafi. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
Egypt has announced an ambitious plan to establish 10 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2028 as part of its national platform for the NWFE program. The initiative was launched during the inauguration ceremony of the Abydos 1 solar power plant in Aswan, which represents a major milestone in the country's journey towards a sustainable energy future. The program aims to boost renewable energy production, reduce reliance on thermal power plants, and support Egypt's national climate change strategy 2050. The Abydos 1 solar power plant, with a capacity of 560 megawatts, is a flagship project within this effort. The project, executed by AMEA Power, a subsidiary of Anwisa Group from the UAE was funded through international partnerships with institutions such as International Finance Corporation, IFC, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the Dutch Development Bank. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Rania Al-Mashat, highlighted the energy component of the NWFE program, which aims to decommission 5 gigawatts of thermal power plants while attracting $10 billion in investments to develop renewable energy projects. These efforts, spanning from 2023 to 2028, align with Egypt's goal to increase renewable energy's share in its energy mix to 42% by 2030. The initiative also supports Egypt's nationally determined contributions to global climate goals. Al-Mashat praised the program's innovative approach to financing, which leverages blended finance mechanisms to attract private sector participation. Since its launch in 2022, the NWFE program has mobilized over $4.5 billion in conventional financing, adding 4.7 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity. The program is expected to reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 17 million tons annually and save $1.2 billion in fuel costs each year by replacing thermal power plants with clean energy sources.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight in the studio Dr. Gamal Qaloubi, the professor of petroleum and energy engineering. Professor Dr. Gamal Qaloubi, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you to you, and greeting of appreciation to you and all your viewers.
Anytime. Of course, we did see over the past 10 or 11 years, under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, special attention being given to the petroleum sector, to the energy mix in general, and we have seen as well collaborations and cooperation between Egypt and foreign investment companies or petroleum companies like Shell, for example. How do you see the importance of fostering this cooperation and this collaboration between Egypt and the foreign investment companies in this field, and ways to be removing the obstacles for the potential investors?
Well, first that you know well that our president was insist every time that's to follow the portfolio of energies, because it's really important, reflects the whole economy of Egypt. The part of that one, whenever you have expansions of activities, expansions also of industries, you need to improve also the maximum flexibility to reclaim new lands and improve the agriculture. As a part of that one, how to fulfill the requirements of that such energies. And part of that one, petroleum section, it's a big activities in Egypt, and we contribute in the part of economy close to 50%. In case if you need to get it also as a figures for the foreigner investment in Egypt's portfolio of petroleum and gas, it's coming to 7 up to $8 billion of total portfolio of foreigner investment, which is inclusively $19 billion. You will find that a percentage is coming between 38% up to 40%. So the consideration that's given from the president to that portfolio is already approached and clear for all the meetings, which it's indeed doing by the president with all foreigner executor managers for the grand companies like British Petroleum, like Apache, like Eni, Italian company, and also for Shell, like what you highlighted
Yes.
in your speech. Shell, one of the important keys for total of 26 companies that we have inside our country is foreign representative and activities, and get all their attentions for the part of energy and petroleum and also for the gas. Shell has many concessions. Shell had been started in Egypt since over 25 years. Wide experience in Western Desert. They have a joint venture with the government that's in few years. Also, they are now have a joint venture companies for the gas in the Mediterranean Sea, and also there is they have their concessions and their exploration phase, which had been started 2 years ago, and they are in continue to do the same for the upcoming 26 and 27. Also, Shell, they have a concession in the green areas like Red Sea, and they have a plan ahead also to expand their activities for a campaign of exploration phase in deep water. By that kind of cooperation and activities can add value for looking for any upcoming economic discoveries which help and the target for our overall countries to improve our production target in the gas.
Yes, Doctor, how do you see the efforts of Egypt, of course, under the tenure of President Al-Sisi, to be eliminating the obstacles for the investors in general to be having a good investment climate, and more specifically in the field of energy and renewable energy?
In 3 stages, I can just conclude in clear visions for our president. Since the mega project like in Zohra had been started under supervision of our president, we talk about in 2015.
Yes.
You will have the first exploration phase of Zohra, and we got that discovery. Since 2015, under the supervision and also the follow-up by the president and the previous Prime Minister, Mr. Sharif Ismail, was taking care about also that project. In 3 years, less such mega project had been executed in a tremendously improvement, and less accidents ever is coming to 0 accident in such mega projects, which it's normally consumed up to 6-7 years, had been achieved in 3 years in Egypt, and we carry up the full enough of the gas as a sufficient to cover all consumptions of the gas in the country. You remember well, when we started in 2015, we are suffering from the electricity cut because we don't have enough gas in the situation. We don't have also some of the strong fields can help and support the gas production in Egypt, which our consumption rate is increased up to 8% year by year. So the consumption rate every year, Egypt consider need extra 1,000 megawatts to add to the total consumption rate and the normal. Addition to all fuel consumption which is supposed to be needed each year, it's increased to up to 8 to 10% of the previous year. So all such challenge and also consideration have been considered also in the president visions, and for that reason one of these projects like Norus, like Golden Norus in 2016, which added 1.5 billion standard cubic feet per day, and in 2019 we have been started the production officially from Zohra with 3.8 billion cubic feet per day, which solve a lot of production gas, can fulfill the requirements of all Egypt. We talk about industry, electricity, we talk about petrochemistry, fertilizers. A lot of consumptions parts had been focused to improve. The part in the 10 years is completely different. Like I said, we start with less than 3.9 billion cubic feet per day. And within these 10 years, we have been achieved a very good, strong discoveries, increase our production up to 7 billion standard cubic feet per day. In case of production, we're maintaining the net crude oil productions up to close to 600, which is very good performances. Also, you have a wide investment from different foreigners with all the international petroleum companies. They have very traditionally and famously, globally, all such companies, it's working here in Egypt with wide experiences, Mediterranean Sea, Nile Delta, in Western Desert, also in Gulf of Suez. So such result, it showed that the control and also the cooperation up to the level of the president in consequences with the supporting of the Prime Minister and the petroleum section in the top prices of Minister of Petroleum to do all solutions and remove all obstacles it's may encountered in front of all foreigners, like what we have in the project. And in consequences, we still have a lot of bid rounds in Mediterranean Sea. We still have a lot of bid rounds also in the new areas for Red Sea. So all like Shell, like newcomers already entered the country, like ExxonMobil, like Chevron. If these companies, which the first time is coming after wide long time, they left the country since 25 years, and such a Chevron or ExxonMobil came again to the country, that's mean we have features, we have some different in terms of condition, in terms of supporting, in terms of the level of security in the country, the level also for the way that a lot of solution and problems had been solved. And the most important, I mean, ultimate success results to the president, that to solve the maritime boundaries in the Mediterranean Sea between us and Cyprus, between us and also Greece. So all such is really important, settled, and they get acquired conditions for all such foreign companies to drilling, to improve their productions, to do their plans. They go for more carry-on activities with the country.
On the other hand, Doctor, how do you see the importance of the commitment of the Egyptian state to be transitioning towards the renewable energy resources by the year 2040 in terms of the energy mix to be formed of about 42% of the renewable energy sources?
Yeah, that's a good question to transfer and they just go from that vision to another vision. Because, you know, we have, as a country, we have a commitment to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions, which is really important, our obligations in the international calm agreement, and also our commitment in the previous weather conference had been settled and held in the
COP27.
COP27, which it showed that Egypt has committed to go for reducing the carbon dioxide emissions, and there is many steps have been settled and executed. First, that one we already switched from the fossil fuels to the natural gas, which improve the number of cars which had been converted from using the usual fuel to the gas as a natural gas to reduce the carbon emissions. Talk about 1/5 of the total carbon dioxide emission coming from the standard fuel, fossil fuel. The second part, that we go for the renewable green energies, which are really important to produce the electricity directly from the solar and from wind. So that part, it's achieved a very good improvement targets since the last 10 years. We talk about from 1.5 Egypt in since we talk about 2016, and today Egypt, we talk about 20% of our electricity production is renewable energy. So that's another scenario. So the stage that's the first stage to go and try to transfer the country from a standalone focus on the fossil fuel with 97% to go for the mix of energy, and that part is with the equilibrium of the balance of the international strong economies dedicated for G20 countries. Egypt tried to follow the target since 2017, and that target is to go for gas, natural gas, to go for renewable energy, to go also for nuclears, and go also for upgrade of the hydroelectricity project, like improving the target in High Dam, improving also what we have in reservoir Aswan 1 and reservoir Aswan 2 plus Isna and Naga Hamadi, with the new one Asyuti channel, which it's improve also the production of electricity up to 32 megawatts. So by this such a combination and also performing results, we come up to 20%, and we are going to go with our commitment by 2030 up to 45%. That is coming from the transition to the mix of energy that as a country target.
Yes, Professor Dr. Gamal Qaloubi, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the renewable energy and the projects related to the renewable energy which dominated the investment strategy for Egypt in the past decade and will be translated on the ground in the upcoming years. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Egypt is making renewable energy the core of its latest investment strategy, aiming to establish itself as a key regional energy hub. In a recent strategy meeting, Minister of Planning, International Cooperation and Economic Development Rania Al-Mashat and Electricity Minister Mahmoud Ismat outlined the country's 2025-2026 energy investment priorities, strongly focusing on boosting clean energy capacity and attracting private sector participation. The government aims to generate 42% of its installed power capacity from renewables by 2030 and reach 12,000 megawatts by 2026, building on legislative reforms and infrastructure upgrades to drive sustainable growth and carbon reduction. Egypt's renewable energy strategy is combining policy direction and investment incentives. The government's integrated sustainable energy strategy 2035, which recently accelerated its 42% renewable energy target to 2030, 5 years ahead of schedule. Meeting this goal will require international support, particularly given the country's ongoing energy challenges. Public-private partnerships such as those seen in the Bimban Solar Park as examples of how Egypt is effectively attracting private capital into large-scale renewable projects. International financial institutions such as the EBRD, IFC and AFGB have also played a vital role by offering concessional financing and risk guarantees, helping to mobilize billions in clean energy investment. Egypt already has the potential to become one of the largest renewable energy hubs, reflected in its growing energy project portfolio. The country is also developing new wind farms in the Gulf of Suez, with capacities reaching up to 2 gigawatts and expanding Gamal wind farm, one of the largest in Africa. Regarding green hydrogen, Egypt has signed multiple MOUs to establish green hydrogen and green ammonia production facilities within the Suez Canal Economic Zone. In addition, Egypt-Europe electricity interconnection project links Egypt's electricity grid with Greece and Cyprus via the Euro-Africa interconnector. The project aims to supply clean energy to Europe, further reinforcing Egypt's position as a regional energy hub. Beyond its environmental impact, job creation has been one of renewable energy's most visible benefits. Large-scale projects employ thousands during construction and operation. Zones like the Suez Canal Economic Zone are drawing green investment and clustering related industries. At the same time, renewables enhance energy security by diversifying the energy mix, cutting fuel imports and stabilizing electricity prices.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Professor Dr. Gamal Qaloubi, the Professor of Petroleum and Energy Engineering. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. Of course, we have seen over the past decade as well the trials and the efforts of the Egyptian government to be having the electrical power grid linkage between Egypt and several countries, more specifically several Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia. Saudi How do you see those efforts over the past decade and the future of it?
I think that's very beneficial for security, which is called electrical security. That's very important. Second, it's a target to improve and also to put some marketing to sell the electricity across the European leakage net.
Yes.
I think that's one of the right example for starting up that one, the very good cooperations between Egypt and Saudi Arabia to go for the linkage of 3,000 megawatt, which had been that project very close. We talk about within these months they are going to start the first experimental operations to see the activities for the first test, and that test exposed it for 1,500 megawatt to see the situation. You know, well, it's very good in terms of design related to that project, and this is the first step up to go all European Gulf for a future. For a future, not also for electric security apart, it's also for some of marketing to sell electricity across such countries. Addition to that one, it's a future project plan to improve our goal targets for renewable energy power plants, which allow to us for a future also to deliver such cooperation in terms of sell it or in terms of make some conjunction with them. The activities of the total 3,000, it will be like 3,000 megawatt, will be in two stages. The first stage, I said to you that within that month or first a start of next June with 1,500. The second stage is supposed to be end of November, as they mentioned up on the electricity ministry. It's supposed to be also 1,500 megawatt tested. The difference for that net as a technology net, the length of that linkage is up to 1,350 kilometers. And we also consider that they have three main stations, one here in Egypt in Badr zone, and the second will be in Tabuk as a transition between the first boundaries to Egypt up to Saudi Arabia, and the second one, a third one, it will be in Medina, which inside Saudi Arabia. The total length 1,350 kilometers, and we consider that the surfaces for that line, it will be 500 kilovolts with DC, which it's a very advanced high DVC, which advanced to go with current, steady state current to feed the whole electricity across the line without to avoid intensive loss of electricity during the high temperature or high weather temperature. Also, it's considered that to fulfill the requirements for the both two countries in terms of different in times, which allow to us to use it from Saudi Arabia to Egypt or vice versa from Egypt to Saudi Arabia. Such activities, it's a very good approach for a future, and very good approach also to improve and the target to spread it, such activities of extension across all European countries.
Yes, speaking about this important topic specifically, you're speaking about the future, Dr. Gamal Qaloubi. How do you see the future of the power linkage, not just between Egypt and Saudi Arabia, but as a foundation for the Arab power electrical grid connection?
I think that project we carry on very fast and successfully in that as a part of its time schedule as per plan.
So it can be done.
Is already. We talk about 65% of the project has been settled.
Yes.
We talk about the first experimental stage, which allow to run and operate transferring and transport 1,500 across the lines to see what's going exactly the efficiency, what kind of obstacles may happen, what kind of plan versus what the actual plan. So all such execution is under focusing to get that project successfully. I consider that that's not the first time that we have the linkages as with Arabian countries. We have with Jordans, we deliver and feed Jordans with almost 300 megawatt. We talk about also our connection linkage with Sudan and I'm talking about something plus minus 250 megawatts. I think that's we have. The Arabian electricity net across the countries, it's a project had been settled since 25 years,
Yes.
but in reality it's not achieved. Accepted within the 3 years, the previous talk about 10 years, it's already considered. It's activate the link between Egypt and Jordan, we activate the link between us and the Sudan, and also we activate the link between us and Libya, in addition to Saudi Arabia. So I think that there is a committed decision to go through that project for improving and future target to Egypt for as electricity as selling material, and a target as economy also material to be target for a future cooperation.
Yes, Doctor, speaking about the commitments, Egypt had recently joined the BRICS group, of course, regarding Brazil, China, and Russia.
Yeah.
Of course, yes, and of course more countries that were joining alongside Egypt. How do you see the importance of cooperation between Egypt and those countries who joined the BRICS, or the founders of the BRICS, in the field of energy in general, in renewable energy in specific, and the green energy as well?
Good questions. You know, in BRICS, I think that's the alternative in terms of politics. It's called the calm vision, rather than what's going with the Western is coming in different politics and different also benefits.
Yes.
So they think about their benefit as a very first target. Also, I think BRICS had been contributed as a democracy calm group allowed to get for more benefits rather than to go for the conflict.
Yes.
And I think that's the leading of China, addition to Russia, Brazil, South Africa, Egypt, Iran, Emirates, Saudi Arabia. I think such countries have a target to make some exchanges between their countries and go for some of cooperation in terms of economy and development. So part of that one is very beneficial for Egypt as a commitment with BRICS. A part of that one, you know well, that China is leading tremendously technology of renewable energy, not only for wind power plants, not only for solar power plants, is tremendously even for hydrology, for a portion of technology of the photovoltaic cells. It's a tremendously technology. Another country like Russia, they have a very good technology in nuclears, and part of that cooperations, I think that's Daba,
yes,
is a clear nuclear power plant target for us. And now we talk about almost 50 up to 55% or 60%. It's targeting to develop and execute within the next 2 years. By 2027, we expected that the first unit of our nuclear plant started to be generated electricity, we talk about 1,200 megawatts. That's a very good example for a BRICS cooperation and benefits for the both of Russia and Egypt, how to go for transferring the technology under the umbrella of some of different cooperation in different vision. Also Brazil, they have a very good cooperation in terms of economy. Brazil, one of a very good economy, strong country, and they contributed a part, participable inside G26, G20 countries. And I think that there is a wide experiences of investment as a foreigner investment coming to the country, and also for some of transferring technology from their side, and specifically for part of renewable energy in that part.
On the other hand, Doctor, you mentioned the future of wind energy here in Egypt, specifically in cooperation with China. For example, we have the Suez wind project that will be taking place here in the country through the development and through the funding of the African Development Bank. How do you see the future of wind energy as, of course, a source of renewable energy in the country?
It's a really good question. No, and part of it, we talk about in the first approach in our speech for 42%. It's renewable energy. I can just contribute that
yes,
figures is coming. A part of that one, we talk about 11,000 megawatts considered to be coming from the solar power plant. That's for upcoming 2030. And we talk about 39,000. That's the total coming from renewable energy, 39,000 megawatt. That our target to produce from renewable energy. 11,000 coming from the solar power plant, and 28,000 megawatt is coming from the wind power plant for that portion, because Egypt, in terms of weather, they have a very tremendous change in the weather, and the intensively forces in the wind, it's across the all seasons. By this situation, we have some dedicated course area, some areas in the coast, like in Damietta, like in Alexandria, in Port Said, in Marsa Matruh, also in El Arish. Different places close to the coast has a very intensively wind area, and that can carry on up to producing in 1 meters, I consider 1 meters, up to 1,300 kilowatts per year, which it's a very good approach for all of us to think about how to deal with that one. Until now, we have the first grand wind power plant, which it's in Gamal, which produced 580, and with the Africa Development Bank,
yes,
with a loan up to $170 million, which it's a plan to hold a very big project. That project is a target to produce 1,100 megawatt, which is the first high record even in the world. By that project, will be in Gulf of Suez, and this is under the vision of the African Development Bank, and they are willing to that project as a real example for the all African countries, and they try to get their experiences from that experimental trial in Egypt to spread it across the all African countries in the future.
Yes, and Doctor, you've mentioned the importance of the cooperation between Egypt and Russia, one of the founding members of the BRICS group, in a Daba nuclear power plant. How do you see the future of the energy mix, of course, with the nuclear energy being one of them?
We talk about the consideration that our target to go up to 13% of our energy mix in Egypt coming
yes,
from nuclear energy, and we use the nuclear energy also for peace, because you know the nuclear party is targeting for electricity as a main target. That's our focusing, and with the first approach design, which is using the techniques of the Russian in the first nuclear power plant in Egypt, which contributed by 4 units to produce 4,800 megawatt. That's the first one, but the area of Daba can accommodate up to 8 nuclear power plants. So our first technology, it will be focused on the nuclear plant from Russian,
yes,
in generation 3, using that updated technology for ultimate security levels for such types of nuclear power plants, and upcoming future for all of us. Soon as we have been succeeding in that part in a project, and we start to producing, we have upcoming futures to improve and targeted to increase our activities for many extra nuclear power plants.
Yes, Professor Dr. Gamal Qaloubi, the Professor of Petroleum and Energy Engineering, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much to you also, Mr.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.